I would love to introduce two very smart and kind people. I've known them for about 2 years, and they are really good friends of mine. One of the hobbies that one of them does is theater, and she's really good at it, and the other does computer programming. Today, they will be sharing a cultural Brazilian story. Please give a warm welcome to Nicole and Kyle Costa.
In the heart of the Amazon rainforest, a story is about to unfold. Brazil contains the world's largest area of tropical rainforest and 2/3 of the Amazon rainforest. The Brazilian people have an innate connection to nature and a desire to preserve it. My name is Nicole Costa, this is my brother Kyle Costa, and today we will be reenacting a story called The Great Kapok Tree by Lynne. This story conveys the importance of protecting wildlife and of considering how our actions will affect others, even future generations.
Two men walked into the rainforest. Moments before, the forest had been alive with the sound of squawking birds and howling monkeys. But now all was silent, as the creatures watched the two men and wondered why they had come. The larger man stopped and pointed to a great kapok tree. Then he left.
The kapok tree towers above others and reaches a height of up to 200 feet, according to rainforestalliance.org. It can be found in the Amazon rainforest, and its trunk is 9 to 10 feet thick, providing sanctuary for various animals.
The smaller man took the axe he carried and struck the trunk of the tree. Whack! 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 The sound of the blows rang through the forest. The wood of the tree was very hard. Chop! 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 The man wiped off the sweat that ran down his face and neck. Whack! Chop! Whack! Chop! Soon the man grew tired. He sat down to rest at the foot of the great kapok tree. Before he knew it, the heat and hum of the forest had lulled him to sleep. A boa constrictor lived in the kapok tree. He slithered down its trunk to where the man was sleeping. He looked at the gash the axe had made in the tree. Then the huge snake slid very close to the man and hissed in his ear,
Senor, this is a tree of miracles. This is my home, where generations of my ancestors have lived. Do not chop it down.
A bee buzzed in the sleeping man's ear.
Zzz. Senor, my hive is in this tree, and I fly from tree to tree and flower to flower collecting pollen. In this way, I pollinate the trees and flowers throughout the rainforest. You see, all living things depend on one another.
A troop of monkeys scampered down from the canopy of the kapok tree. They chattered to the sleeping man.
Ooh, ooh, ah, ah! Senor, we have seen the ways of man. You chop down one tree, then come back for another, and another. The roots of these great trees will wither and die, and there will be nothing left to hold the earth in place. When the heavy rains come, the soil will be washed away, and the forest will become a desert.
A toucan, a macaw, and a cock of the rock flew down from the canopy.
Senor!
Squawked the toucan.
We have flown over the rainforest and seen what happens once you begin to chop down the trees. Many people settle on the land. They set fires to clear the underbrush, and soon the forest disappears. Where once there was life and beauty, only black and smoldering ruins remain.
A bright and small tree frog crawled along the edge of a leaf. In a squeaky voice, he piped in the man's ear.
Senor, a ruined rainforest means ruined lives. Many ruined lives. You will leave many of us homeless if you chop down this great kapok tree.
A jaguar had been sleeping along a branch in the middle of the tree. Because his spotted coat blended into the dappled light and shadows of the understory, no one had noticed him. Now he pawed silently over to the sleeping man. He growled in his ear,
Senor, this kapok tree is home to many birds and animals. If you chop it down, where will I find my dinner?
Several anteaters climbed down the kapok tree with their young clinging to their backs. The unstriped anteater said to the sleeping man,
Senor, you are chopping down this tree with no thought for the future, and surely you know that what happens tomorrow depends on what you do today. The big man tells you to chop down a beautiful tree. He does not think of his own children, who tomorrow must live in a world without trees.
A three-toed sloth had begun climbing down the tree when the men first appeared. Only now did she reach the ground. Plodding ever so slowly to the sleeping man, she spoke in her deep and lazy voice.
Senor, how much is beauty worth? Can you live without it? If you destroy the beauty of the rainforest, on what would you feast your eyes?
A child from the Yanomamo tribe who lived in the rainforest knelt over the sleeping man. He murmured in his ear,
Senor, when you awake, please look upon us all with new eyes. Brazil is home to more uncontacted people groups than anywhere else on the planet, according to survivalinternational.org. This specific tribe, also known as the Yanomami, is one of the largest relatively isolated groups in South America. There's a great contrast between Brazilians who live isolated in the Amazon and those who live in São Paulo, for example, a modern, forward-thinking city and the largest in all of South America.
The man awoke with a start. Before him stood the rainforest child, and all around him staring were the creatures depending upon the great kapok tree. What wondrous and rare animals they were. The man looked up and saw the sun streaming through the canopy. Spots of bright light glowed and looked like jewels amidst the dark green forest. Strange plants seemed to dangle in the air, suspended from the great kapok tree. The man smelled the fragrant perfume of their flowers. He felt the steamy mist rising from the forest floor, but he heard no sound, for the creatures were strangely silent. The man stood up and picked up his axe. He swung back his arm as though to strike the tree. Suddenly he stopped. He turned back and looked at the animals and the child. He hesitated. Then he dropped his axe and walked out of the rainforest.
The end.